Welcome to Paranormal Files. I'm your host, Zoe Parker. And in today's episode, we're diving into one of the most mystifying and enduring theories in the world of the unexplained: vortexes and ley lines. Are there invisible paths of energy crisscrossing the Earth, connecting sacred sites and supernatural hotspots? Could these energy grids be responsible for strange phenomena, from ghost sightings to time distortions? Tonight, we follow the lines no map can trace and uncover what might lie beneath. The concept of invisible energy lines spanning the globe isn't new. In fact, it stretches deep into antiquity, whispered about by ancient cultures across continents. Known today as ley lines, these alleged alignments are said to connect sacred sites, mysterious monuments, and areas of heightened paranormal activity. The term was first coined in 1921 by amateur archaeologist Alfred Watkins, who noticed that numerous ancient landmarks in the British countryside appeared to fall into straight lines when plotted on a map. Stone circles, churches, burial mounds, and megalithic sites. Watkins believed these weren't random placements, but intentional, forming what he called ley lines. Watkins' theory didn't gain much traction at the time. His contemporaries saw it as pseudoscience, and it quickly faded into the fringes of academic thought. But in the 1960s and 70s, the idea experienced a rebirth, bolstered by the rise of the New Age movement. Spiritual seekers began to view ley lines not just as historical pathways, but as conduits of Earth's energy, akin to meridian lines in acupuncture. Places where these lines intersected, they claimed, were vortexes, geographic locations where the Earth's energy was especially concentrated. These energy vortexes were said to promote healing, spiritual awakening, or in some cases, amplify supernatural activity. Notable examples include Sedona, Arizona, Glastonbury Tor in England, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, and even Easter Island. Though separated by oceans and cultures, all were said to sit atop powerful points in a global energy grid. The idea that Earth could have an energetic anatomy, like a living being, fascinated mystics and metaphysicists. They proposed that just as the human body has chakras, so does the Earth. Mount Shasta, for example, is considered the planet's root chakra, while Glastonbury and the Great Pyramid correspond to the heart and third eye. These locations, believers argue, have always been sacred because of their unique energetic resonance. But what does energy mean in this context? It isn't electricity, magnetism, or anything measurable with conventional tools. Rather, it's described as a spiritual or vibrational frequency, felt, not seen. Critics are quick to point out the lack of empirical proof. There are no scientific instruments that detect ley lines, and no peer-reviewed studies confirming their existence. Yet anecdotal evidence, pilgrimages, and centuries of folklore continue to feed the mystery. It's also worth noting that ancient peoples seem to instinctively understand these alignments. The Nazca lines in Peru, for instance, appear to point towards significant astronomical and geographic locations. The layout of Stonehenge and other megalithic structures often aligns with solstices, lunar cycles, and cardinal directions. Coincidence? Or were ancient builders guided by knowledge we've since forgotten? As we unravel these invisible threads tonight, we'll explore the stories of those who've walked the lines, felt their pull, and in some cases, never came back the same. Because whether real or imagined, ley lines and vortexes continue to draw seekers, skeptics, and the curious across deserts, forests, and oceans, searching for something just beyond the veil. One of the earliest and most intriguing accounts tied to energy vortexes comes from Sedona, Arizona, a desert town that has become synonymous with spiritual awakenings and unexplained experiences. Long before tourists flocked to its red rock formations with crystals and meditation mats, Sedona was sacred ground for Native American tribes. The Yavapai and Apache considered it a place where the spirit world and the physical world touched, a thin place, as some call it. They spoke of swirling energies that could heal or transform, and they approached the land with deep reverence and caution. Modern interest in Sedona's vortexes began in the 1980s, when a psychic named Paige Bryant identified 4 primary energy vortexes: Bell Rock, Airport Mesa, Cathedral Rock, and Boynton Canyon. She claimed these sites emitted specific vibrational frequencies, some masculine and energizing, others feminine and nurturing. Visitors soon began reporting strange phenomena: dizziness, emotional outbursts, feelings of euphoria, and, in some cases, visions. While skeptics dismissed it as suggestion or placebo, believers insisted the energy was tangible. Eyewitness reports from Sedona are remarkably consistent. Hikers describe sudden temperature shifts in vortex areas, even when no clouds are present. Compasses reportedly spin erratically or freeze in place. Others speak of feeling pushed by unseen forces while meditating or standing near particular rock formations. One account comes from a woman who claims she entered a trance-like state near Bell Rock, emerging with knowledge of events she could not have known, later confirmed as real. Glastonbury Tor in England is another site steeped in myth and energy lore. Rising above the Somerset levels, it has been associated with King Arthur, Avalon, and early Christian legends. Visitors often report a humming sensation beneath their feet, strange dreams after visiting, and in rarer cases, disorientation and loss of time. A common theme across these locations is that people experience heightened sensitivity, not just emotionally, but perceptually, as if a layer of reality has been peeled back. One lesser-known but chilling account comes from the Nevada desert, not far from Area 51. A retired geologist claimed to stumble upon an uncharted ravine that emitted an overwhelming pressure in the chest, like walking into an invisible wall. His GPS malfunctioned, his satellite phone lost signal, and his dog refused to go any farther. He turned back, and the ravine was gone. He was convinced it was a temporary vortex opening, perhaps linked to natural magnetic anomalies or something more arcane. These stories aren't confined to remote wilderness. Even in bustling cities, reports occasionally surface. In parts of London, Sydney, and San Francisco, urban ley line maps suggest that strange architecture, inexplicable cold spots, and increased paranormal sightings cluster along old energy paths. It's as if these ancient lines continue to pulse beneath the modern world, largely unnoticed, but occasionally felt by the sensitive or the unwary. While some of these encounters can be chalked up to overactive imaginations, environmental quirks, or subconscious influence, the sheer volume and consistency of these reports keep the mystery alive. Whether mystical currents truly run beneath our feet, or we're tapping into a deeper psychological layer, one truth remains. People keep experiencing something, and they often walk away changed. As stories of strange sensations and unexplainable phenomena mounted, so too did efforts, both formal and informal, to investigate the claims surrounding vortexes and ley lines. While mainstream science has largely kept its distance, a patchwork of researchers, dowsers, geophysicists, and independent investigators have taken up the task, each using their own methods to uncover the truth. One of the most persistent investigative tools in this realm is dowsing. Traditionally used to find underground water sources, dowsing rods, typically bent metal rods or wooden sticks, have been repurposed by modern ley line enthusiasts to detect subtle energy fields. Dowsers claim that when they walk across a ley line or energy vortex, the rods react, spinning, crossing, or pointing in specific directions. Skeptics argue that this is the ideomotor effect at work, small, unconscious movements made by the person holding the rods. But believers insist the reaction is real, repeatable, and sensitive to energetic fluctuations in the land. In Sedona, some guides offer tours specifically focused on these vortexes. Guests are provided with EMF detectors, infrared thermometers, and compasses to detect anomalies. While EMF meters can be triggered by natural rock formations with high iron content, or even by hidden electrical lines, they're often used in paranormal investigations as indicators of unexplained energy spikes. In multiple accounts, guests report consistent EMF fluctuations near the same rock structures, with no nearby technology or wires to account for the activity. In the UK, ley line research has evolved into digital mapping projects. Amateur archaeologists and energy researchers have used GPS and satellite imagery to overlay ancient sites and churches across the British Isles. What they found was surprising. Numerous ancient landmarks do appear to fall into unusually straight alignments, lines that stretch across miles, even across national borders. Glastonbury, Stonehenge, Avebury, and dozens of less famous stone circles often seem to fall into patterns too precise to be coincidental. And while modern cartographers caution against confirmation bias, the alignments continue to intrigue. Perhaps the most unexpected involvement came from NASA in the 1970s, when satellite data picked up strange electromagnetic anomalies across certain regions of Earth. These were never directly tied to ley lines, but some independent researchers speculated that the anomalies matched ancient pilgrimage routes and energetic hotspots. While NASA dismissed these as magnetic irregularities caused by subterranean geology, believers saw this as indirect confirmation of the planet's unseen energetic structure. One curious case emerged from New Zealand, where researchers using ground-penetrating radar near a Maori sacred site discovered unusual patterns in the soil, swirling formations that appeared to radiate outward in geometric shapes. No artifacts were found, but the radar patterns themselves were inexplicable. The site was near a known ley line path, and local shamans insisted the land was alive in a way outsiders couldn't understand. Despite scattered evidence, mainstream science has largely labeled vortexes and ley lines as pseudoscience, interesting folklore at best, and misinterpretation at worst. Yet the ongoing investigations, strange readings, and experiences reported by thousands around the world challenge that narrative. While instruments may struggle to capture what's there, human experience continues to insist that something unusual exists along these invisible lines. With so many unexplained occurrences tied to vortexes and ley lines, a range of theories, both paranormal and scientific, have emerged to make sense of the phenomenon. Some explanations attempt to bridge the gap between metaphysics and measurable science, while others lean fully into the mystical, viewing these energy grids as part of a hidden design governing the Earth itself. One of the most prominent theories is that ley lines are natural electromagnetic pathways created by the Earth's magnetic field interacting with underground minerals and geological faults. According to this view, places where large quartz deposits, fault lines, and underground water sources intersect can emit weak electromagnetic frequencies. These frequencies, proponents say, may be felt by sensitive individuals and misinterpreted as spiritual or paranormal energy. The argument is that certain people are more receptive to these shifts, perhaps due to heightened electromagnetic sensitivity or unique neural wiring. There are also suggestions that these energies may affect human consciousness. Some researchers theorize that exposure to specific electromagnetic fields can alter brainwave patterns, leading to meditative states, hallucinations, or even time distortions. This could explain why so many vortex sites are associated with spiritual awakenings or visionary experiences. While not universally accepted, some fringe neuroscientists believe the Earth's natural resonance, known as the Schumann resonance, may interact with human brainwaves in subtle ways, particularly in high-energy locations. Then there are those who suggest a more cosmic explanation. The idea of a planetary grid, an invisible lattice connecting sacred sites like the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, and Stonehenge, is popular among New Age thinkers and ancient alien theorists. This theory proposes that ancient civilizations had knowledge of the Earth's energetic structure and intentionally built monuments along these power lines to harness, stabilize, or communicate with higher energies, or even extraterrestrial intelligences. Proponents argue that the precision and global consistency of these alignments defy coincidence, especially considering the lack of technological communication between these early cultures. A more esoteric view suggests that ley lines and vortexes are remnants of a lost ancient technology, perhaps Atlantean, Lemurian, or even non-human in origin. In this narrative, ancient beings created an energetic grid to power civilizations, enhance psychic abilities, or open portals to other dimensions. While this idea has no grounding in archaeology or physics, it remains compelling to those who believe our understanding of the past is incomplete by design. On the other hand, psychological explanations abound. Skeptics suggest that belief in ley lines is a form of pattern recognition, our minds trying to find order in chaos. Humans are hardwired to detect patterns, even where none exist, which could explain why people find alignments and experience profound events in places they expect to. Confirmation bias, groupthink, and the power of suggestion are often cited as the real forces behind vortex phenomena. Despite the lack of consensus, one theme emerges across all these theories: that these places feel different. Whether it's a magnetic anomaly, a spiritual gateway, or a deep-seated psychological response to sacred geometry, the mystery remains. And perhaps it's not the energy itself that's powerful, but what it awakens in those who seek it. In recent years, interest in ley lines and energy vortexes has surged once again, fueled by social media, streaming documentaries, and a renewed global fascination with the paranormal. While skeptics continue to dismiss the concept as pseudoscience, a growing number of travelers, spiritual seekers, and amateur investigators are visiting alleged vortex sites in record numbers, eager to experience something beyond the ordinary. Sedona has become a pilgrimage site, attracting hundreds of thousands annually. It's no longer just a retreat for mystics and healers. Now influencers, digital nomads, and even curious skeptics walk its trails with EMF meters and cell phone cameras, hoping to document their own unexplainable moment. Tour guides tailor experiences to match guests' beliefs, offering chakra balancing, aura readings, and guided meditations at the most energetically charged locations. Even as some visitors leave unimpressed, others report life-altering experiences, emotional releases, spiritual visions, or a sense of clarity they've never felt before. Meanwhile, ley line theories have permeated global pop culture. Shows like Ancient Aliens, The Unexplained, and Hellier feature segments on the subject, weaving it into narratives about lost civilizations, interdimensional portals, and extraterrestrial contact. This exposure has helped rebrand ley lines from a fringe idea to a legitimate part of paranormal discourse. TikTok and YouTube are now filled with short videos analyzing ley line maps, suggesting links between mass disasters, mysterious vanishings, and energy nodes. The digital mapping of ley lines has also gained momentum. Tech-savvy researchers are using satellite imagery and GPS plotting to trace new potential alignments. Some of these digital overlays suggest that modern cities, including Paris, Tokyo, and Washington, D.C., sit atop ancient ley paths. Whether intentional or coincidental, these patterns captivate people across the belief spectrum, from open-minded architects to geomancers and grid theorists. In Glastonbury, England, New Age festivals centered around the intersection of the Michael and Mary ley lines draw large crowds each year. Attendees gather at ancient wells, stone towers, and sacred hills to celebrate earth energy and celestial alignments. Workshops are held on everything from vibrational healing to ley line dowsing, blending ancient tradition with modern mysticism. There have even been attempts to scientifically measure the energy of these sites using biofield imaging and low-frequency sound analysis. Though results are inconclusive, some researchers claim consistent anomalies in energy hotspots, including variations in geomagnetic flux and unexplained sound frequencies. Still, without mainstream validation, these findings remain speculative. Perhaps most intriguing are the spontaneous activation stories, instances where individuals report discovering previously unknown vortexes. These people claim to feel sudden, overwhelming sensations, nausea, euphoria, buzzing in the ears, and instinctively know they've stumbled upon a hidden node. These spontaneous reports have led to new entries on ley line maps and fueled discussions about whether the Earth's energy grid is shifting in response to human consciousness or cosmic cycles. Whether seen as ancient knowledge, forgotten science, or mystical metaphor, vortexes and ley lines continue to spark curiosity, debate, and personal transformation. In a world dominated by concrete data and digital interfaces, they offer something else entirely, a mysterious connection to nature, the past, and possibly to something far greater. As we look back on the threads we've followed tonight, a striking pattern emerges. Ley lines and vortexes, whether real or imagined, continue to captivate the human spirit. Across continents and centuries, they connect more than sacred sites or ancient ruins. They connect us to an enduring mystery, one that defies easy categorization. From the red rocks of Sedona to the mist-covered slopes of Glastonbury Tor, these places have drawn seekers of all kinds: the curious, the broken, the awakened. We began with the historical roots of ley lines, the work of Alfred Watkins and his observations of linear alignments across the English countryside. We traced how ancient cultures may have intuitively understood something about the land's natural energy, building temples, pyramids, and stone circles in places that seem to hum with life. We explored first-hand encounters at sites considered vortexes, where strange electromagnetic disturbances and intense personal experiences are still being reported today. Then we turned to the investigations, some grounded in science, others in esotericism. We considered electromagnetic fields, the Schumann resonance, and the Earth's magnetic anomalies as potential explanations. We examined fringe theories involving ancient technology, extraterrestrial contact, and interdimensional gateways. And we acknowledged the skeptical view that this all may be the result of pattern recognition, suggestibility, and the deep human need to make meaning out of mystery. Culturally, we've seen how the theory has evolved and adapted to the modern age. From niche books and dusty dowsing rods, ley lines have entered the digital realm, spreading through social media, inspiring documentaries, and becoming woven into the collective imagination. They are no longer confined to stone maps or New Age workshops. They live now in our algorithms, in our travel plans, and in our subconscious questions about what still lies hidden beneath the surface of our world. Through it all, one thing is clear. People are still looking for answers, for energy, for signs. Whether it's a compass that won't behave or a sudden sense of clarity at the summit of a sacred hill, the experience is deeply personal and often transformative. And in that transformation lies the enduring power of the ley line legend. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't whether these invisible paths exist, but why they persist. Why, despite centuries of skepticism, we continue to return to these places. Why we feel something shift, not in the earth, but in ourselves. And why, in an age of satellites and science, we still believe the land holds secrets it hasn't yet revealed. So the next time you stand in a quiet field, trace your fingers across ancient stone, or find yourself inexplicably drawn to a place you can't explain, ask yourself, are you standing on one of Earth's hidden veins? And more importantly, what might it be awakening in you? Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Zoe Parker, and this has been another episode of Paranormal Files. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you would like to support the show, subscribe to Paranormal Files on Spotify. The link is in the description. Subscribe now.